Help me reach 6,000 subscribers. Support the video with a like and leave your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone. Thank you. I never thought silence could be so loud. It was a Saturday morning, the kind that should have felt easy. Sunlight creeping through the curtains, coffee brewing, the smell of toast in the air. But in our house, even simple mornings had started to feel heavy. My name's Ryan, I'm 39, and I've been married to Emily for 10 years. We don't have kids. For the first few years, that didn't bother either of us. We told ourselves we were waiting for the right time, that we wanted to travel, to enjoy each other first. But somewhere along the line, enjoying each other became something we said, not something we lived. Lately, I'd been catching her eyes drift. During dinner, on the couch, even when we were out with friends. It wasn't anger or boredom in her look. It was distance, like she was already halfway gone and waiting for the courage to take the rest of herself with her. That morning, as she sat across from me scrolling her phone, I decided I couldn't take it anymore. "Emily," I said. She didn't look up. How do you feel with me?" The question hung there heavier than I expected. She looked up then, eyes tired, as if I'd just asked something she'd been dreading to answer. "Honest answer?" she said quietly. "That's all I want." She took a deep breath, set her phone face down, and stared at the table for a long moment before speaking. "Sometimes," she said slowly, "I feel like I'm wasting my life." I felt the words before I fully heard them. They landed somewhere deep, sharp but oddly calm. I didn't flinch, didn't shout, didn't even ask why. I just sat there and let them echo. After a long pause, I nodded. "Then pack your things," she blinked, almost confused. "What?" "You said you're wasting your life. I don't want to be the reason for that. So pack your things." The silence that followed was suffocating, the kind that squeezes your throat, but you still pretend to breathe normally. She laughed. Not a happy laugh, but the kind people make when they don't know what else to do. "You're not serious." "I am," I said. "If I'm holding you back, then go find whatever makes you feel alive." For a moment, I thought she might cry. Instead, she shook her head, stood up, and walked away without another word. The sound of her footsteps fading down the hall was the loudest thing I'd ever heard. That night, she didn't come to bed. I heard drawers opening, the slow rhythm of hangers scraping metal, the soft thump of a suitcase being set down. But I didn't move. I stared at the ceiling, counting the seconds between each sound. By morning, her side of the closet was empty. Her perfume still lingered in the air, faint and stubborn, like a memory that refuses to leave when asked. She didn't leave a note, just took what was hers and left the rest. I made coffee again, out of habit more than desire, and sat at the same table where it all happened. The sunlight hit the same spot, the cup steamed the same way, but everything felt different. Hollow, maybe even honest. I wanted to feel angry. I wanted to curse her, to call it betrayal, to tell myself she'd regret it. But the truth was simpler. She just didn't love me the way she used to. And I wasn't sure I could blame her for that. People don't wake up one day and decide they're done. It happens slowly, as in glances, in silence, in the way you start saying, "I'm tired," instead of "I love you." I'd felt it coming for months, but chose to ignore it because facing it meant accepting that maybe love isn't always enough. That afternoon, my friend Jason stopped by. He looked around, noticed the missing shoes by the door, the empty counter where her mug used to sit. "She's gone?" he asked. I nodded. "Man, I'm sorry." "Don't be," I said. I asked her how she felt. She told me the truth. I just did the same. He didn't say anything after that. We sat in silence for a while, drinking coffee that had gone cold. When he left, I walked through the house, room to room, like a stranger touring someone else's life. The photos on the walls looked like ghosts of people I used to know, and somewhere between that silence and the ticking clock, it hit me. Sometimes the truth doesn't set you free. It just removes the illusion that you were ever okay. The days that followed were strange, quiet, almost surreal. The house felt bigger without her, emptier, but not lonely in the way I thought it would. Loneliness implies yearning, missing someone you can't have. This was different. It was relief wrapped in confusion, like I'd finally been given permission to breathe. I stayed on my routine. Coffee in the morning, emails and work calls during the day, a long walk in the park in the evenings. The streets felt sharper somehow, the air colder but cleaner. I noticed details I hadn't before. The way the sunlight fell across the sidewalks, the laughter of strangers walking their dogs, the rhythm of the city continuing without me. It was on the third night that my phone buzzed. A message from Emily. My heart skipped, not with hope, but with curiosity. "Can we talk?" I didn't reply immediately. I stared at the screen, thinking about the words she had said, the suitcase, the silence, the weight of her leaving. I had expected anger, resentment, maybe begging. But "can we talk?" was something else, tentative, soft, unsure. I decided to meet her. Not at the house, not in the comfort of my routine, but at a small cafe halfway between our neighborhoods. Neutral ground, public controlled. I arrived first, sipping black coffee, watching the door. Emily walked in 20 minutes later, casual but tense. Jeans, sneakers, a hoodie that looked familiar. Her hair was tied back loosely, and her eyes had the tired shimmer of someone carrying a weight they didn't know how to set down. We sat across from each other in silence at first. Neither of us wanted to start with excuses or blame. I waited. She took a deep breath, looked me in the eye, and said, I've been thinking a lot. About us, about me, about everything." I nodded. "Go on." "I felt trapped," she said, voice low. "Not by you, not really, by myself. I didn't know how to be happy, and I think I projected that on us. I made a mistake leaving like that, but I didn't know how to ask for help. I listened, the same calm I'd maintained since the suitcase days anchoring me. The woman I loved, or at least thought I knew, was finally speaking honestly. Not excuses, not manipulation, just truth. "I'm not asking to come back," she continued, "but I needed to tell you. I needed you to know that it wasn't that I stopped caring. I just lost myself somewhere along the way." I didn't interrupt. My fingers wrapped around the mug, feeling the warmth seep into my hands. I realized then that closure doesn't always arrive through confrontation or loud drama. Sometimes it comes quietly, through honesty, even if it's painful. When she finished, I said, "Thank you for telling me. That's all I wanted, the truth. I wish you'd asked for help sooner. Maybe things would have been different. But what matters now is that you finally own your story, and so do I." She nodded, eyes glistening, and I could see the years of our life together reflected in them. Not just the love, but the struggle, the mistakes, the unspoken words that had accumulated until they became too heavy to carry silently. We left the cafe separately. No hugs, no promises, no tears, just a quiet understanding. For the first time since she said she felt like she was wasting her life, I felt the same, free but clear, like a weight had lifted. Over the next few weeks, I threw myself into small things I had neglected. Jogging in the mornings, reading books that had gathered dust, cooking meals just for myself. The house was quieter, yes, but it no longer felt like a reminder of loss. It became my space, my rhythm, my life. I realized something important. Love isn't always about keeping someone close. Sometimes it's about knowing when to let them go, and letting yourself live fully in the process. Emily and I never tried to reconcile. We exchanged occasional messages, civil, brief, but always honest. I didn't resent her. I didn't pine for what was gone. I carried the lessons forward. The small kindnesses, the moments of laughter, the late-night talks, they became memories, not chains. One morning, as I was packing a small box of old letters and photographs to store away, I caught myself smiling. Not because I forgot her, not because it didn't hurt, but because I understood something deeper. Life isn't about clinging to what's fading. It's about walking forward step by step, even when the path is uncertain. I made a choice that Saturday morning, the day I told her to pack her things, to be honest, even when it hurt. And in the quiet aftermath, I discovered something I hadn't felt in years. Clarity. Sometimes love ends not with a fight, but with a truth that can't be ignored. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is not chase it, not beg for it, not fight to revive it, but let it go. And in that letting go, finally let yourself live. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if Emily will ever find the happiness she was searching for, or if I will. What I do know is that we both walked away knowing our own hearts a little better, and for the first time in a long time, I felt peace. Peace isn't loud. It isn't dramatic. It's quiet, steady, and almost invisible, but when it arrives, it's enough. And that morning, as the sunlight streamed through my kitchen window, I realized I was finally enough too.